Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel here today, and we're back for another Walking Dead video here today. And today we're going to be talking about cut content in Season 1, and there's a ton of cut content. So I'm splitting this into a Part 1, Part 2. If we are able to hit 300 likes on this video, I will release Part 2 sometime roughly either Monday or Tuesday. I'm making a poll. Obviously, I've tried to think of the idea of making 3 Walking Dead videos a week. That's not going to happen. So we're going to split it to a 2-day-a-week thing. So if you guys want to check that out, there's a poll down below. Make sure to go vote. Again, if this video hits 300 likes, I will post it by Monday or Tuesday at Part 2. If not, we'll probably do it, like I said, sometime later next week or the week after. So we're going to be talking about episodes 1 through 3 here, and then when I do part 2, we'll be talking about episodes 4 and 5. Alright guys, hope you guys do enjoy this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new again. And again, 300 likes and we'll release part 2. Alright guys, a lot of stuff to go through here, so let's get straight into it. Alright ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do this in order. I said we're doing episodes 1, 2, and 3 in this, and then we'll do 4 and 5 in the next part. So Episode 1, A New Day. Honestly, a lot of cut content in this, and it's very interesting to look back at it, because there's actually a good amount in each episode. So, our first little snippet of information of cut content was something with the characters' development and how they were acting. It had to do with Katja and Duck, and Larry as well. So, originally in the original version, before they obviously scrapped things, Katja was a little more of a panic kind of person. And Duck, you know how hyper and crazy he was, he ended up being a less enthusiastic person in terms of how he acted in the first couple episodes. Because remember, Duck's running around the walls, detective and all that stuff. And also Larry. I have my hatred towards Larry and stuff. But Larry, in the original version before it had gotten scrapped, was a more compassionate person. And again, other than maybe just, how he admitted it, if you corrected him on episode 1 when Duck, supposedly everyone thought Duck got bitten, he was more compassionate and admitted that he was wrong. Again, he did do that in the full-on version, but I think the emphasis on him being wrong was a little more compassionate, because knowing Larry was hard-nosed, he was tough, he could be a dickhead sometimes, but that was how Larry was. Now, another thing here with Kenny. Kenny's original name was Frank. Huh! Kenny was not named Kenny. Kenny was originally named Frank. That's crazy to think. Think of a name. Would you rather have Kenny named Kenny or have him named Frank? I think we all know the answer to that. Alright, also another thing here. Duck had his own subquest. In the early development, you had to knock the pole on Lee's brother while Doug attracted the walkers away with Kenny's truck. Lee had to cut the electricity before cutting the pole with a fire axe. Ooh! I like this scene because, the Duck and Carly situation, we got some time with them, but in this situation, Duck gets his own little sub-quest with us, so we get more time with them. And I like the idea that Duck's going to drive away the walkers and we're going to cut the electricity. I like that idea. Honestly, that would have given Doug a lot more emphasis on his character. And I think, honestly, even though I feel if you save him or not, even if you don't save him, there's a little more time you get to play with him. Alright, another option here. Additionally, you could choose who to come with when you save Irene. Irene is the girl that got bitten, remember, in the motel when we were going with Glenn and Carly? That is Irene. So it says you could come to save Irene, or you could leave her completely. Lee could choose only Carly to come with him, or only Glenn, or neither of them. If Lee went alone, he could borrow Carly's Glock. So it turns out, when we're going to look for Glenn, Carly, it turns out this choice originally was like I said, it was a determinate choice where Lee could go by himself, Lee could bring Carly with him, or Lee could bring Doug or Glenn. And that was it. Instead of Lee and Carly having to go rescue Glenn when he was trapped there. Another thing here. Lee had to find a hammer and a pair of nails while walkers were invading the pharmacy. Hammering the windows and doors to buy the group some time. Lee had to go to both Carly and Doug, assisting them with the hammer while they had held the window door. Another, I think, cool scene that they could have added in this. Definitely, I would have liked to seen something like this. More than just, giving us dialogue options. More kind of action scenes. Definitely. Alright, another scene. There was unused icons for episode 1. I think I'll link those down below in the description. I don't really know what they are, but I'll try to find them if I can. And then the last thing here for episode 1, the teapot and the hammer, not the same hammer as the one you bashed Sandra with, is not used at any point. Running icon was available in episode 2, Starve for Help. The rag concept was scrapped and was added in episode 3, A Long Road Ahead. And that's, like I said, the unused icons are basically the teapot and the hammer there. And that is everything for episode 1. Alright. And then here we go. One more thing. One more little tidbit of information from episode 1. In some promotional photos, Glenn's baseball cap has the New York Yankees logo on it. However, in the game it does not. So obviously, probably for licensing and copyright, they were not able to use the Yankees logo in it. And obviously, there is a lot of unused lines and audio. I will put all that in the description, the first 3 episodes of unused audio. Honestly, you guys can go over that. There was just too much to go over with in one video. But honestly, there's a ton of audio that you guys can definitely look up. Alright, so episode 2. We're on episode 2 now. Starve for Help. Definitely had the largest amount of changes from the original to the main version of the game. So there's a lot of stuff here. This is why we're going to go right into it. So, first thing in episode 2. When Lee meets Ben and David Parker, there is a completely different scene as either Lee, Kenny, or Mark had to help Ben shoot the walkers while one of the 3 cut off Mr. Parker's leg. If Mr. Parker was left behind, Lee could have the option of leaving Ben as well or take him with you. If this option was made, then Mark would die in the bandit raid in the St. John's Dairy, Mr. Parker taking his role of being dinner. What? Whoa! Whoa. And the reason I think they might have scrapped this decision was the fact that I think, since we really didn't know that much about Mark, would you really want to have them really introduce Mark in the first 2 or 3 minutes and have him die like that? But honestly, this is crazy. Crazy. You got to think about this. Ben, we know who Ben was, obviously, in Walking Dead, but David Parker, I believe David Parker was the, professor? And the other guy was Travis. They don't mention Travis in this. But basically, if you have Kenny or Mark had to help Ben shoot the walkers. So this is a determinate choice. You had to pick either Kenny or Mark to shoot the walkers, and then the other one would help cut Mr. Parker's leg. So, the whole emphasis, if Mr. Parker was left behind, we could leave Ben behind. Oh my goodness, as well as take him with you. So if the option was made, then again, Mark would die in the bandit raid. So Mark would die in the bandit raid. We could leave or take Ben with us. And Mr. Parker would become, I guess maybe the St. John's would find Mr. Parker's body and take him in and cook him, or would we maybe have him somehow still alive? That's actually very interesting. Like I said, this is my favorite episode of all time, so this is going to be a lot of emotional stuff for me personally, because this is crazy. This episode was just crazy. In the original version of the game, Travis, like I said, I mentioned him earlier, did not exist. He was added much later. So pretty much near launch, Travis was added into the game. They didn't even have the option to add him as a character. Another thing about names here. Mark's original name was Max. Okay. Ben was a completely different character in the original version. He could use a rifle and was more scared than in the final. He also would tell what really happened to his classmates and had to witness several traumas, such as being forced to see the R word. I'm not going to say it, obviously, because I don't want to get demonetized. As well as there was a major key factor left out due to episode 3, whereas Ben dealt with bandits to save a friend. Wow. Well, this is a crazy thing. Ben talking about the R word. I'm not going to obviously discuss it, and having to actually explain it and the traumatizing events of what happened to his classmates. Oh my goodness. And like I said, another main factor of Ben trying to save his friends in episode 3. That's crazy. That's crazy. Alright, another thing here. The group was already aware of the bandits as they attacked after the events of A New Day. So we remember, they didn't really know. They didn't really know we're aware of them after the events of A New Day. That's crazy. There was originally an attack planned at the end of the day. That's just insane. Another one. Lee and the group could choose to bring gas or not. If Lee said no, then Andy would come back with some food every day until the group said yes. Ben would stay behind due to the traumas. Oh my goodness, look at this. They even could have made this episode better. I thought this was the best episode. Like, they can make Ben even more of an emotionally character. Like I said, based on his traumas, he was not going with you. Kenny replacing his role in joining the group, as well as Lily being more acceptable to the newest member, teaching him the basics. So, what we have here basically is Ben staying behind due to the traumas, if you pick that. Kenny replacing his role. So Kenny instead would not go to the barn. He would be in Ben's position, staying at the motel. That's actually really interesting, because it seems like in the full version of the game, he really wanted to go to the St. John's Dairy. So I think they completely flipped his character arc in this way. And that's just insane to think about. And again, all these patch notes I will link down below in the description, so you guys can rewatch them in case you are confused by what I'm saying. Brenda St. John, in the original version before it got fully released, had a different voice actor. Interesting, they don't really mention the voice actor, but she was voiced by someone else. Another thing here, there is a dream sequence present in the game data. Whoever you didn't save came back to haunt Lee in his dream, asking why they weren't saved, and that Clementine will die because of his actions. Mention of Lee's ex-wife Sam and the Senator Hands is there as well. They end it with, "Do you think you can save me this time?" What? Oh my goodness. Look at this. Flashbacks with scenes where Lee could feel regret, remorse. I mean, this is crazy stuff here, folks. And season 1, in my opinion, was already perfect. I mean, you add stuff like this, you could put it up another level. I think this was a fantastic idea. But probably, like I said, maybe because of time length, they couldn't put this in the game. But literally having Carly or Doug in a flashback dream telling you, why you saved me, Clementine's gonna die because of you. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. And then, alright, another thing here. When the group arrived at the farm, the group could either take the biscuits or leave. Refusing them apparently results in a hilarious dialogue between Mark and Carly and Doug. Lee could also freely leave the farm and back to the motor, and if desired. What? So, you're telling me, how would this episode work if Lee could actually have the option to leave the farm? Before any of the bandit attacks happen, before we find out about, the St. John's and them being... What if we actually took Ben, with Kenny, and we went back and we find that it's all burned to hell? I mean, imagine that. And we find Larry like a walker. I mean, this could change the story completely. It's just insane. All these determinate choices. They have to replace some things in the episode with all this stuff. Alright, another choice here. Whether you choose Duck or Sean had a large impact on the farm. As Katja will scold Lee for not choosing the kids, Lee could also fix the swing if he could find the ropes going farm. Okay, that's just that. What this guy put here is wrong, because Lee actually did fix the swing, but I don't think there was glue. I know for a fact there was rope, but there was. I think they added the glue factor in for sure. So there we go. All right. Another comment here. Originally, there was more to Jolene's character. Depending on Lee's choice, she could mention another bandit called Paul and her daughter Danielle. Like I said, more backstory. So like I said, I like when Telltale includes the backstories, definitely. Alright, originally, the dinner sequence was much larger as an unused sub-quest occurred where Lee had to cut Clementine's food or let Lily/Kenny do it. Lee could also choose to add more salt or pepper to Clementine's plate, or let the two above do it, which are Lily and Kenny. And there were several retakes of a prayer, and Lee at this point had found out that Mark/David was dinner. So originally, instead of Lee just freaking out running down the stairs, he walks salt, pepper, cutting up the human meat, and then prayer. During prayer, is that when the moment happens where Lee just says, "Oh my goodness, don't eat that. We're eating human here." Like, oh my goodness, that's insane. Alright, Larry's death was much sadder in the original version, as he, in his dying breath, apologized to Lee for not being able to protect her and her mother. Oh my goodness, this is all good stuff. I'm just hooked. I mean, maybe making Larry, instead of being such a dickhead, make him emotionally. Like I said, what if Kenny bashed the brains in and Larry's apologizing? I mean, that's just, oh my goodness. Alright, also, originally the group was scattered at first after the revelation of the cannibalism. Lee found Kenny first, who was shot beforehand, and then Lily before trying to rescue Duck and Katja. What? Lily was shot so Kenny was shot beforehand, before he charged, I think it was Andy, and Andy ended up shooting Kenny. He was already shot before that, and we had to find Lily after that. Pretty crazy there, too. Alright, also, originally the group did not find a station wagon. The food was in the barn after Doug/Carly and Ben saved Lee and the others, and after Andy's fight, they all took a box and went back to the motor inn. The supplies room was replaced with a bloody tub, metallic equipment, and jars containing organs instead. Huh. Interesting. So the survivor would have originally not been in the game. Had this circumstance happen, means the entire frickin' story changes as a result of this. Who's the main villain then? There's a lot of crazy things here, folks. Crazy, crazy things. Alright, and then another thing. Additionally, after the survivors took the food, you could go around asking everyone how they felt about today's events in the motor inn. If Mr. Parker was left behind, but taking Ben, he'd tell that it was a horrible fate for his teacher as he was a good man. While Ben describing what happened to Mr. Parker if he was put into Mark's shoes as being cut up as the human meat. Wow. And I think that is it for episode 2. Let me double check here. Oh, we do have some... Yep. That is it. Yep. Alright, that is it for episode 2. Alright, we're going on to episode 3, The Long Road Ahead. Alright, so episode 3, Long Road Ahead. There's not a lot here. Honestly, episode 2 had the majority of the bulk, like I said. There's only about a couple bullet points here. Alright, in the original version of Long Road Ahead, Lee had to save each individual as the group was scattered all over the motor inn. Rather than saving Doug/Carly and Ben, and then save Clementine, Katja, and Duck from the various bandit attack. So it was individual. Instead of in the original version when he was shooting, when the walkers were attacking the bandits, he had to save Duck and Katja together. Clementine and I think Ben were together as well. So he had to do it individually instead. Alright, another thing. Ben was supposed to tell about his family on the train, but it was scrapped for this episode and added in no time left. Alright, not a biggie there. And then our last one, Jolene was going to make a return via flashback. It seems Telltale originally in the original version it had a lot of things to do with flashbacks, and they kind of made that an emphasis of Season 3, obviously, we know that. But this was scrapped for unknown reasons. Her lines are in the audio clips. Interesting enough, there are screams and cries of her begging for help. Possibly, again, the R word, as she implies in the camcorder, you R word mun in the final version. Okay. Well, that is it, my friends. Again, we had 300 likes on this video. I will discuss episodes 4, 5 in 400 days by Monday or Tuesday. This is a lot of interesting stuff, my friends. Again, a lot of stuff to think about. I will link these notes down below in the description if you guys want to look at this, as well as I'll link the audio files. There are some interesting audio files. I can't go over them because it would take, this video would go way too long. Because if I had to play every single audio file, it would take a little too long. But guys, I hope you guys do enjoy this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. I do appreciate it. And like I said again, we'll go over episodes 4, 5, and 400 days if we do end up 300 likes. So thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.